poop to pop? That's the question.
No, I've been popping regularly. It's pretty good.
Yes, and we join this show already in progress. That's what I would say. Hey,
Yeah.
everybody, welcome to Thinking Out Loud with Friends. And I think I just recorded it to the computer. Well, what the hell? That's life in the big city. How's everybody doing?
Okay.
Well, let's say this. Welcome to Thinking Out Loud with Friends. Remember, everything you hear today is an opinion. We can talk about whatever's on anybody's mind. So enjoy yourself, sit back, have a beer, or whatever you do to make yourself enabled to be able to watch this show. That's it. But I got to tell you guys, I want to thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all your support. So remember, you make it happen, and let's make it happen today. So anyway, Kenny called. He's working today. He's driving. He'll probably join us. Kurt's going to join us in a little while as well, I'm sure. I haven't heard from Chris in a while. And then I just read today that not only did they have the fires, but now it's going to rain and you're going to experience mudslides?
Mudslides. Yep.
Sure.
Is that insane?
It always happens. It's not like, oh my God, they're going to have mudslides. It fired, mudslides. They go together.
Yeah.
You can't have one without the other.
It happened.
Like love and marriage,
remember
eh?
years ago when the Oakland fire happened? All those eucalyptus trees caught on fire. And man, Oakland, it was just like, foot and a half of mud. Downtown.
I didn't know they had eucalyptus tree, but they didn't have any koalas. So, that's really a dichotomy.
Well, they were in San Diego, so.
Oh, there you go. The koalas.
California is full of eucalyptus.
Yeah. Yeah, but if those trees catch on fire, all hell breaks loose because of the oil.
They explode.
Yeah.
They don't just burn, they explode.
Right.
Insane to say the least. Anyway, speaking of up north, it just, I don't know if you know this, but Vince Edwards at 57 from Sound Image passed away. And Vince also had a show called Backstage Pass and Beyond the Backstage Pass, and I was a guest on that. I don't know if anyone else in the room was a guest on his show.
Kurt
but
was
what a nice guy.
One of our people.
What a nice guy. And then the other thing that, really unusual about this guy is that I thought he was invincible. He was one of those guys that nothing could go wrong with this guy. Nothing could happen to this guy. He was going to outlive everybody, and yet he didn't. And
he also had amazing groups. Beyond the Backstage Pass Facebook group, a Death by Loadout.
Yes.
Facebook group.
Anyway. I don't know why his death affected me as much as it did, because, I wasn't really close with him, but yet I feel bonded to him. And, a young guy, 57, so.
He was a crew guy, He was there. You could just tell. There are people who have been in the business long enough. You talk to them for about 2 minutes and you know, you just know, and
So may he rest in peace, to say the least.
Yeah, it's a great loss to the business and a huge loss to Sound Image Productions and Declare.
Yeah, I feel sorry. The person I feel sorry for the most right now, other than myself, of course, but George, his brother, they worked together every day, and they were brothers, real brothers.
Almost 30 years.
No, they were brothers for 57 years, because that's how old he was.
I know, but they worked together professionally in our business, in the business for almost 30 years.
Yeah.
Vince was doing monitors. George was doing front of house. It was, he was a good guy. I met him once, and I'll never forget him. And then, of course, he was on Robert's calls a lot. You know,
Right.
you know.
Yeah. Robert's a little too busy to have his calls
Yeah,
anymore. And, I would love to have some of the people from Robert's room come in and join us if they feel like talking,
yeah,
because I'm sure they do, because in that room they always are talking, talking, talking.
yeah,
And, so maybe the fact that we broadcast ours and Robert keeps everything quiet, is why he has
yeah.
people
I'm
coming in
pretty
every week.
sure he's going to come in because of Vince leaving. I got a feeling on either Thursday or Friday we're going to get a meeting, but that's me speculating.
Well, I hope it is you, and I hope it happens because, I enjoy that room.
Those are good. Yeah, those are
I
good.
enjoy that room as well.
But
By the
I
way,
enjoy this room too because you're so witty. At
well,
times.
thank you. And you're the star of the show. Really,
No,
you guys are the stars
no,
of the show.
no. Wayne is. You told me that. You texted me that. You're leaving.
David is. That's
Oh,
it.
David is. That's
Actually, last week Kenny Newman was the star of the show for sure.
no kidding.
Him and Bruce. But so let me tell you what's going on. So historically speaking, we were lucky if we had, like two or three other people watching. And then it picked up, so we had like, maybe 100 people watching. And then I found this thing called Opus Clips. And
Yep.
basically, what I do is I take the show and I dump it into Opus Clips, and Opus Clips gives me a peripheral of, or a plethora of 30-second clips, which I go through and edit down a little bit and then put them up. Well, since I've done that, we now have had, listen to this, we're up 2,341% in our YouTube viewership.
Right.
And so now we have 5 people watching.
So,
No, all
what do
kidding
y'all
aside,
think?
listen to this, Greg. Listen to this. Really, last week we had 1,318 views.
Right.
So,
It was a good
that's
subject.
impressive.
It was
Well,
good.
yeah, it was. We were talking about a lot of different things, and these 30 seconds, snippets are really cool, and so
Well,
it's,
what happens is we get in the wormholes about gear, and God help you, you can't pull us out. You're having a hard time harpooning us to get us back on topic, and you're like going, well, I had 12 things to talk about to put in the chat, so I'm only going to do 2.
yeah, but the truth be told is this, is that when you guys go off on that kind of tangent or whatever it is, that's fine. I love it.
Yeah.
Because we're all in the business. So yeah, sure. There's nothing wrong with that.
So,
Nothing at all. But in
so
regards to
they, so,
YouTube, before we go off the YouTube subject, right? There's, how many people are watching YouTube right now? I mean, right at this very second, not necessarily what we're doing, but it's staggering. There's more than 1 billion hours of YouTube watched every day.
yep.
Billion with a B. And YouTube's first 6 months of 2024, a quarter of all the time streaming on U.S. televisions was through YouTube.
Now, think about the data centers that has to temporarily store all those streams. Just think about all of that, because
Why?
how long?
Why would I want to think about it? Who gives a shit?
Yeah. Okay.
If I owned a data center, then I'd think about it, but I don't.
Yeah.
So fuck them.
Yeah.
That's it. Let them stream it.
You're talking to a data center designer. Come on.
Oh, well, there you go, data center.
So
There'll be an awful lot of busy electrons traveling
Okay.
around.
So you ready for this? YouTube TV, did $32 billion worth of revenue compared to Netflix at 34.
but YouTube TV that's apples and oranges.
It's is it?
No, I have YouTube TV, And I don't have local cable. Where I'm located right now, if I put an antenna up, I can't get shit. So YouTube TV, I'm getting everything that I want to get. So, and
Right.
yep, I'm paying them $83 a month, and it's damn well worth it. And if I want to go to a hotel, I unplug my Fire Stick and plug it in somewhere else, and I got my same channels that I have. If I fly to Thailand, Jan, I'll have my Fire Stick with me, and I'll plug it into your TV, and you'll be watching, Tampa TV channel.
That's very cool. But remember, on the Fire Stick, and they just introduced it. The only company that I know that allows you to do this is Surfshark, and Surfshark has the ability to put the VPN on, and
Right.
so once you use the VPN on Surfshark, then they don't know where you are. If you
Right.
don't, you won't have it.
But did you know that Surfshark is owned by NordVPN?
I did know that. I did know
Okay.
that.
Okay, good.
But it's a separate division and it's a separate
Right.
entity. But they're owned by the same parent company.
Are you leaving, Dave? Or you waved a second ago?
Or Dave, do you have something to say that we can make a clip of?
No, I would. For like $29, you can own 3 or 4 Fire Sticks, which is what I have. I have one
Yep.
in there, one in there, one in my road case.
Yep.
They're easy. Just plug them in and
You
go.
like the Fire Stick more than you like let's say Google Chrome or possibly the Roku. I have the Roku. I like that as well.
Yeah.
Fire Stick is the smallest, easiest to use. I don't know if
Right.
it's the easiest, but it's really small, and that covers everything. I don't. The less I
I got a Fire Stick Pro 4K, and
Yeah.
it outputs Dolby Atmos. It's this.
And they're on sale all the time. Amazon runs a sale on those all the time.
Yeah, we have $40.
Okay,
what I
speaking
got
of $40,
It's not even
Peacock right now, Peacock is running a sale right now, $30 for the whole year.
Yeah, I know. I signed up for it.
Yeah, I'm going to sign up for it too. They're going to get a lot of viewers for at least a year. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, well, they lost a lot of people after the Olympics. Everybody signed up for Peacock so they can watch unedited, real streams of what happened in Paris. And that was cool. I tell you what, the mixes on the Peacock versions versus what we saw on NBC, totally different. Totally different.
Right.
And
Well,
Fred can attest to
I
that.
take your word for it.
No, Fred knows that. He mixed it. He mixed. He was in Stanford mixing it.
Well, yeah, some of it. Yeah, for sure. Oh, the other thing is, did you guys watch the Super Bowl?
Sure.
Yeah.
Anybody have any comments on Kendrick Lamar?
I'll just say this. Dave Natale was there. There's an article on it on FOH online. So I suggest everybody go read that article because it gets into ATK is the company who ATK is owned by Claire, of course, but they've done the last 15 Super Bowls and they're amazing. They're really good folks.
You want to hear something? You know what ATK's biggest client is?
Who?
Apple. They do all the Apple stores.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, they're wireless wizards. They really
Well, they've
are.
been doing that for a long time, and I don't know if I don't know if they still have it, but they used to do all the major award shows too.
Mm-hmm. I don't know whether they have it.
They're the
What,
first
David?
company. They're the first company that came up, and maybe the only company that came up with a transformer isolated power.
Right.
Those giant toroid transformers meant that they had absolutely a quiet system Of course, that's when the Aerosmith problem, when the stagehand plugged the Aerosmith system into regular AC and blew everything up. But
Yep.
overall, that's what took ATK over the top. And
That wasn't Greg, was it? Greg, you didn't do that.
No. I know
No.
who did it, and it was not me. He was out of the LA office, and he that was his last gig.
I'll bet it was. Just remember everything you hear today is an opinion. Yeah. So
It was a resume generating event. Let's just say that.
just
May I ask what actually happened?
For those who are listening, what happened was Aerosmith, was it halftime or opening? They were opening some event, whether it was the Grammys,
Right.
and all of a sudden they lost all their in-ear monitors. And it was because their isolated power has to remain isolated, and somebody plugged it into regular AC, and all of a sudden it was all grounded, and it just, whatever it did, it overloaded. And so Aerosmith goes on without in-ear monitors, and of course, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Not a way to start off the Grammy show. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, it was a Grammy show, if I remember correctly.
yeah, not a good way. Not a good thing.
It was Grammy. So
Not a good thing. Not a good thing.
So there was two power supplies, was there? One isolated one and one general one. Is that what happened? And they bridged it.
Well, yeah, I mean, if
they
you
bridged
get
the ground.
isolated power, you plug in the regular, yeah, you got a neutral problem there, and you're talking lethal voltage across across interconnected equipment, and yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, that is like a complete, comedy of errors. And how could somebody do that?
They were wireless. If they were wired, they would have killed them.
Wow. How could he be so stupid to make a mistake like that?
It's real easy. I mean,
hopefully the earth leakages tripped before anyone got something would trip first.
Shows that big. There's so many people. It's easily done. I mean, it's good.
They had been using it for years and years, 10 years at least, before that happened. So you're talking about thousands of hours,
right,
safely running that system until somebody found the weak link.
Right. But David, you should read that article on FOH online, because they talk about isolating world clocks. Okay, because you have you have the live gig in the stadium, to where you have a clock between the front of house desk, a master clock between the front of house desk and the monitor desk. So the in-ears are in sync with what's going out to the system, okay, in the stadium. But the trucks have their own master clock. So how do you isolate that? And like you do the halftime, they provided everything, not only that, the broadcast, everything had to be in sync. And they, what was the equipment? They use RedNet boxes. It was all over Maddie. Yeah, it's a real fascinating article, and I highly recommend you read it.
All right.
That
being as it may, I was not impressed with the halftime.
No, I wasn't either.
I mean, it's just...
All right. Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because I wasn't either. And not only that, it was hard to hear. It was. It seemed like the mix was not that good. However,
whoever was in the truck, they were mixing to Atmos. They weren't mixing to standard stereo or even 5.1. They were mixing to Atmos, because Apple TV they were the master mix. And this is explained in that article. They were the master mix for the halftime show. So you got to know those guys were in there mixing to Atmos. And if you mix the Atmos, your TV or your iPad or whatever you have that you're standard listening to, it doesn't down translate.
Unless you have Atmos.
Right.
But
How many people got Atmos these days?
Right. A fraction of 1%.
My point exactly is what I'm telling you. Is
right.
I think that was the reason why I couldn't hear the vocals.
But in addition to that, he doesn't project. He doesn't enunciate. No. And everything sounds the same. I found it really boring.
Right.
Well, actually, the funny thing is, David, is that in your mind, that is correct. But in the people that they would design to project to, they saw something completely different than we did.
Completely.
Yeah,
Now, the production was amazing. You know, it's like the Grammys. I don't think the Grammys sounded good, but I tell you what, that production at the Grammys was stellar.
The production was good, but the product itself was horrible, and it was terrible to watch. I had to turn it off. I could not watch it. It was unwatchable. But before we leave that, I want to talk about Kendrick Lamar, because I didn't realize this until I saw something. I watch a show every week called Mac Break Weekly with Leo Laporte, and they went into
Leo.
Yeah, he's very knowledgeable, super knowledgeable guy. He's got this thing called the Twit Network, and I really enjoy watching him. And one of the guys on the panel is Alex Lindsay. And during COVID, Alex Lindsay was putting on this panel called Office Hours, which is still going. But in the early days, I was part of the panel every day. I would wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and get on his panel, and I really enjoyed it. It was great, and I met a lot of interesting people, and people got to know how intelligent I was, or not, whatever, But anyway, so Alex is on the show. And Alex is very, very sharp. Alex has got a great deal of knowledge of production and video production, especially that. And he's done, he works at the White House, and he's done a lot of different stuff that's, really high end. So he's on the cutting edge of all of this stuff. And he's on this show, and I enjoy listening to him when he's on Mac Break Week. I don't remember. Oh, no, I'm sorry. What they were talking about was Kendrick Lamar and how it was a very subversive message that went out that was hidden from the average people like us in the room, but was designated and designed to reach the people that are into Kendrick Lamar. It was very political to them. It didn't seem like it to us, but to them, it was amazingly political. And the song choices that he made.
And also, too, not only that, the production. I mean, first off, we come to find out later that the president had already left, but Samuel L. Jackson coming out as Uncle Sam, as the Grand Master of all of that, was a hidden message.
That's exactly correct. Yes.
But
I didn't understand it when I saw it. I just looked at it and said, that's cool. Sam Jackson. I love that guy. What an actor. You know? Yeah. How many of us in the room could actually repeat his dialogue from Pulp Fiction?
But you know what? Take it back a couple generations. Jan, can you repeat lines from Nirvana?
No.
Yeah,
I cannot.
Exactly.
I can't even. I don't even. It smells like teenage something or other.
Yeah, but I can tell. I can give you all the lines to Montrose songs or even Cat Scratch Fever from Ted Nugent.
Right.
So that's kind of. My point.
I saw him on an interview show where he says people come up to him in restaurants and they just give him his dialogue,
Yep.
From Ezekiel,
Well, but he's an award-winning poet.
I didn't know that.
Yes, he's got awards. I think it's a Pulitzer. I don't know. It's
Kendrick Lamar now, right?
Yes.
Right.
Oh yeah. Oh, Kendrick Lamar. I knew it. I didn't.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Sam Jackson.
No.
Good
Sam
segue there,
Jackson's
Greg.
an
Good segue. I love that. That's it.
Yeah,
Leave
hey,
us.
I'm keeping it moving.
Leave us slow people in the dust. That's it. That's what I could say. So let's see. What was I going to say? Okay, speaking of sound and all that stuff, I just put a link into the chat about gain sharing. So I know you guys use gain sharing all the time, so I saw an interesting article in ProSound Web that I thought I would share about gain sharing. This is where probably Wayne really shines. I'm sure his gain sharing is unbelievably good, and he'd like to share some of his gains with us.
No, I'm no master at it, but it's just linking two channels, and then you just follow the one follows the other.
Well, there you go. So why should you write an article anyway? Forget it.
I probably could write an article, but
it's important. Actually, it's heavily used in the church business, the worship system.
Yeah, well, wherever you have two consoles, monitor console and a monitor console and a front of house console, there has to be some gain sharing.
You can do it on the same console. You can do it on the same console. You don't need two consoles.
Right.
How is that possible, Wayne?
Example of that.
Just link
Give me an example of that. How could you do gain sharing on the same console?
Well, I do it all the time.
You're amazing. You're amazing.
Well, no, I'm not. But you can do it on the same board if you've got enough channels, and you link the channels, set one up with.
And why would you do that on the same board? Why would you do that?
I do that all the time because if you've got 32 channels for front of house and 32 channels for monitors, you link the input channel, your analog input, and then if you want to, you can put one of them into. Well, it's already gain sharing if you turn the pot up.
There you go. That's what I said. Why would you do it? It's just one more thing to go wrong, right?
No, but you've got two completely different channels one used for monitors and one used for front of house, and the only common thing is the analog input gain. You've still got digital gain on both, and then if you put it into gain sharing, you can, especially on the Digico, you can watch the gain change as it compensates.
Interesting.
If you change the digital gain, it compensates on the other one, on the other channel, so that the signal level stays the same.
That's gain compensation. That's an on-off switch on the Yamahas. We can turn that on or off so that you're independent.
Yeah, you can do that on the Digico too, but I do that all the time. When I split.
Well, good. It gives you one more thing to do, so you feel like you're earning your money. I love it.
But I don't always put it into gain compensation. Sometimes I just leave them as the only common thing as the input gain.
Well, then I highly recommend you read the article that I just put the link in the chat, and you will be amazed that you could have written that article, but you didn't.
Probably not, but I certainly understand it all.
Is it that cold in Seattle, Kurt?
Hello, Kurt. Hello, Ken.
Oh, it's in the shop. It was, in the mid-30s.
That's why. He's just too cheap to pay for the gas, the heat.
Hey, Ken Porter is in the room, ladies and gentlemen.
It was built in 1924, Ken. I could pay for all the heat there would in the world, and it wouldn't last a second.
Well, it looks good. You got modern lighting, at least.
You got what?
Modern lighting.
So can you see
No, I'm in
between
a
the
tire
cracks?
store. I'm in a left.
Oh, you're in
one.
Oh.
I need some tires.
You know what I found out? And I you might think that, I'm a little bit dense and slow, but the the tread of the tire, depending on the tire. A friend of mine was just talking that he bought really expensive tires for his car, and he found out that he's getting 5 miles per tank less than he was getting with other tires. And because the tires last longer. He bought tires that will be good for 80,000 miles, and he found out that he's getting worse gas mileage with those tires than tires that usually go out at 30 or 40.
How do you measure 5 miles per tank? How can you do that?
You got to be an anal guy. You got to be very, very anal.
I tell you, my dad, I'll never forget this. Growing up, my dad would sit there. He had a book, and he would record exactly how, 13.9 gallons into, whatever car that we had. And then he would record the price. And it was like balancing your checkbook. And he would go down and calculate, okay, we did 136 miles and we got so many miles per gallon.
That is hilarious. My dad did exactly the same thing. He had the little notebook in the glove box every time.
Yep.
And I don't know why.
And my mom would just shake her head, She would go, honey, let's go. And he'd be going, oh, okay, hold on a second.
My story was a little different than that because my first car was a 1956 Plymouth Savoy. We named it the Maggot Mobile because they had rust all over the thing and the headlights shaking and everything there, but it hit the gas gauge was broken. So every time I put gas in it, I had to fill it up, and then I'd have to write down the mileage and kind of guess how far I drove, see where it was. It was like, maybe I should put some gas in this and see how many gallons I put it so I keep it so I don't run out.
Yeah, ours was a little different too. We never really kept track of it, but I'm sure our limo driver did. I don't know, but it's like, what can I say?
Early Volkswagens did not have a gas gauge.
Yep, that's right. That's right. My Volkswagen, I bought when my first year at Ohio State, 1972. I bought a used Volkswagen when it was snowing. The passenger side, I had to put a big rubber mat on it because the floor had already rusted out. So the snow would just, come up into the ceiling, into the floor. And no gas gauge. I would just fill it up, every other day. And it didn't cost anything to fill it up.
Did it have a reserve tank on those Volkswagens?
Not on mine, but those are in the 50 models.
Yeah. Well, in those days, gas was 25 cents a gallon,
Well, yeah. I remember remember gas wars? You would get two gas stations fighting against each other. And, you would go and you would drive like 30 miles to go ahead and get gas for 18 cents a gallon.
Oh, you baby boomers had it great, man. Gas wars,
S&H green stamps.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And you'd get Funkin' Wagnalls encyclopedias.
Yep.
One volume at a time.
Collier's encyclopedias. The big with the red. And then they had, especially when you get into the human anatomy ones, they had the cellophane things to where, oh, yeah.
So this is all way back when the Super Bowl halftime shows were good, right?
Yeah.
Well, you missed that part of the conversation, but listen to it back, and you'll hear exactly what we talked about with the Super Bowl. But you are 100% correct. Although one thing I will say, Kurt, more people watched the Super Bowl this year than ever before, and more people watch the halftime show than ever before.
Right.
How many people turned it off after the halftime show too this year?
Right.
Oh my God, it was horrible. What a game. What a bad game.
And more people probably turned it off after 10 seconds of listening to that halftime show.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
it wasn't designed for you and me. It was designed for a
It certainly
specific
was
audience.
It's
You know?
designed for the lawsuit of
But-
Drake and whatever, the Drake
Yeah.
lawsuit.
There
I
was
mean,
a,
how many times a day do we listen to hip hop at this room? You know, probably zero.
there
My
was,
issue was the mix was terrible.
No,
If I
it
could have
was.
understood anything he was saying, it would have been better. But the vocal was way too low.
They
So-
were mixing for Atmos. That was the problem. Yeah. Did you see, Kurt? Did you see George's link to go to Vince's memorial on FOH online?
Yes.
I saw the link, but I didn't see
Right.
that part.
Go
Is
see
it
it
actually been
because-
announced?
While you're there, there's a link to what Phil did with ATK at the Super Bowl, and they talk about it. They just said Apple. They were mixing that entire show in Atmos, and it makes sense when I listen to it. You know, I don't have Atmos in my house anymore, and on 5.1 or on straight stereo, you couldn't hear because all those channels were spread out. It was horrible. But I bet you if I had a full Atmos studio in my house, it would have been great.
Yeah, I realize I'm not the target demo, and that's fine, and I get
Right.
it, and I get that it was a message that I essentially agree with anyway. So I don't have a problem with the content. I just thought it sounded terrible.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the question is, what was the best halftime of all time that you guys ever watched?
Oh gosh.
I'd say Prince.
I got it.
Prince.
Prince, you say Prince?
Oh,
Yeah, I would say
McCartney.
Prince.
McCartney was good, but I'd say Prince probably better.
Prince, Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson was good for the production, but Prince was there.
Prince was good because it was in a storm or a hurricane.
Yeah, it was.
And he really played.
He was still playing. Yep.
He really played.
Oh, by the way, I was I was listening. You know, they were talking about the halftime show on Mac Break Weekly, and one of the things, you know who Rich Eisner is? He's got a podcast, and Don Mishner was the producer of the Michael Jackson show, and he was saying that they weren't supposed to start playing the music until Michael took off his glasses, and he was there, and Michael wouldn't take off his glasses like for about 30 seconds, and they were freaking out in the truck because they couldn't start the production until he took off his glasses. So just an FYI. You can go
The
listen
other
to that.
show
Rich
that got
Eisner.
me, because it was the first time anybody did it, it was when Lady Gaga leapt off the stadium. That production, sound wise, it was Lady Gaga tracks, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, but production wise, that caught me. But I agree with Kurt. Prince was
Michael Jackson was good.
Yeah. I worked the Super Bowl at Raymond James with The Weeknd, and I still don't know what the hell that was. Yeah, and I saw him again at the Grammys, and I said, that's the same damn show he did 8 years ago at Raymond James. And what the hell is it? I don't know.
But what about the wardrobe malfunction one?
With Janet Jackson.
Yeah.
Janet Jackson and Timberlake, right?
Yeah.
So Bruno Mars could put on a good show.
Yes, that was a good one also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was.
No, there's
I
been
don't
a
mean
lot.
to
I mean, there's
derail you back to
50.
something
They've
you
been
already talked
50
about.
of them, right? 50 halftime shows. So I guess you have plenty to choose from. I'm sure if you went up to
49.
YouTube,
This was licks.
Has
if
anybody
you go up
seen
to
49.
YouTube, you could figure it out. But I believe that Prince has got the number one. Everybody,
who-
when you
You know who
Right.
played at the first one?
No.
no, I don't.
Carol Channing.
Carol
No
Channing.
kidding. Hello, boys.
Like on a
Well,
flatbed truck.
Well, hello, Dolly. What could I say?
So,
It was
so has
like
anybody seen that? Oh, go on.
I said it looked like a Rose Bowl float, basically. And they drove it out in there, and she held a microphone.
Well, those were the days before they had the production that they have right now.
Yeah.
So has
Yeah.
anybody seen the video of the Bruno Mars, Lady Gaga song?
Yes,
That
that
looks like
was
the old
well
Peter
done.
Wagner show with Tammy Wynette. She's dressed up like Tammy Wynette hairdo.
Yeah,
And
that was pretty good. I like that. What do you think? Did it
but the
sound good?
throwback to the old, those old Saturday afternoon, country
Right,
country
right.
shows.
It would
was
be
pretty
like
fun.
it would be at noon was Lawrence Welk, and then 1 o'clock would be or 2 or 3 o'clock.
Remember 5, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock on Saturday night was the Porter Wagner show, and then
Yep.
pulled into Hee Haw and all that stuff.
Yeah, that was what you were watching down there in the South. I'm sure, we were watching Knight Rider up there in the North. That's it.
No. I was in South Dakota. We were watching that.
I was
It
watching it in
depends.
St. Louis.
So you guys, well, Ken will know. You guys know who Dolly wrote "I Will Always Love You" about, right?
I know. Who is it?
Anybody else?
I'm not going to guess, but go ahead.
Sing a few bars of it, Kurt. Sing of it. Sing.
She wrote it. She was trying to. It took her months, I guess, to get up the courage to tell Porter Wagner she was going to leave the show and go out on her own. And she wrote that song the day she told him she was going to leave the show.
Oh, she wrote the song is about that and told him, and then sang him the song.
Yeah, and sang him the song.
So sang him the song and said, "I'm leaving and stuff there." And he said, "I'm fine with that as long as you let me produce the record." Porter Wagner did the production in the studio for Dolly on that.
What was the guy's name? What was the guy's name?
Porter Wagner.
Hey,
without Porter Wagner, she would not have been
And we've
discovered.
got a Porter in the room. Unbelievable. Porter Wagner, Ken Porter. I love it. Any relationship?
Nope.
Ah, damn. Close. That's close. That's close. Anyway, what else? Let's see. Fire Aid. You guys saw Fire Aid, right? 6 hours of it. It raised over $100 million. I'm happy to report. 200 of that came from me.
Kurt, the same link I just told you about will also give you to a link of what they did on that production. It was, they talked about, Claire did the forum, and I forget who did Into a Dome. Into a Dome was all JBL, which was interesting.
I've been slammed, but I'll try to find those links and read them.
Yeah.
We're gearing for a Climate Pledge gig with Bonamassa on Sunday.
By the way, you're in a tire store, and I saw Wayne holding up some sort of tire rim. I don't know why he was doing that, but I guess he in support of your. What were you doing? Why were you doing that?
I need new tires. They're off my car.
Oh, so you should join Kurt at the store.
Yeah.
I'm getting
little
one
Mercedes,
repaired,
Mercedes
one
wheel.
replaced.
Sorry.
So
I've got to take that.
car?
I got to take my Jeep down to Bend. I've got some stuff to do down there, and I'm going to leave it down there for the season. But I've got a leaky tire that's been fixed like 3 times.
Oh wow! Well,
Time
I'm
to
sure
get
they'll
a new
get it
one.
this time. But are you ready for this? Okay, I got a hot story. Groundbreaking asphalt incorporates tiny porous materials called spores, smaller than hair strands, filled with recycled oils. And when the cracks begin to form, these spores release the oil, and basically these are self-repairing roads. And once they get this out there, this is going to replace all of the way they do roads now, and the roads will never, ever need repair after they put these roads in. So, brand new technology, thanks to artificial intelligence figuring it out. So now we're going to have new roads that are never going to have cracks in it.
Are they going to change the names of all the roads for no reason?
Well, I don't know. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. I don't know. But like there's a lot of going on. I was just swimming in the Gulf of America the other day.
As a matter of fact, if you have a VPN, Jan, what does Google Maps say to the Gulf? We just call it the Gulf here in Florida. we have no other name for it other than the Gulf. If somebody tries to put a suffix to it, the Florida crackers say you're a damn Yankee,
Yeah, well, the reality is I understand what Kurt's talking about with the Gulf of America, and the reality is what Google is doing. All of these big tech companies, they are under scrutiny right now, especially in Europe. Like one of the biggest stories breaking right now is the European Union wants Apple to give them the keys to the back door of everybody's information. And Apple is saying no. And because of that, and Google is also in lawsuits with the European nation, and what they're doing right now is they're trying to curry favor with the U.S. president so that he puts pressure on the Euro nation to let these guys get away with what they want to get away with. And that is why you're seeing so much support from Silicon Valley into the politics. So just be aware, it's not something that they're doing because they don't have an alternative motive. It is profit. That is all there is to it. Now, Apple is in an unusual situation right now because what Apple does is Apple prides on the fact that we are giving you privacy. You have the ultimate privacy. All your data, we don't take any of your data. Everything's encrypted. We don't want to know what you're doing. We're just giving you the platform to put it on. But the European nation is now saying, no, that's no good. We need to have access to whatever you're giving. Even if you don't have it, we need that backdoor key. And Apple is saying no. But if Apple succumbs to this and does that, then everything Apple has said all along about you are your privacy, you are secure, is all bullshit, complete bullshit. So Apple is in a really unfortunate, tenuous position right now of what they need to do. So that's happening right now, and that's why you see Apple Maps put, all of a sudden change it from Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. It wasn't because that they were doing it because they agree with it. They're doing it because they got to placate this guy so that they can get what they want politically. It's insane.
I'm gonna go get a book on how to do smoke signals.
All right, very good. That's a good idea. Well,
do you feel
look,
about
if it's on the
renaming-
internet, it's gone. Once it's on the internet, it's there forever. There's no way once you put something on the internet to take it back in. No matter what you try to do it, it's always going to be there. Always. So the reality is though, but our privacy and our data has been stolen so many times by so many different, like for example, United Healthcare had a major break, and all of a sudden their healthcare information just got out there. Our social security number, our phone numbers, our addresses, everything about us is available on the black market right now, or the dark web as they call it, and so it's insane.
You ain't gonna find shit.
Well, the problem is right now is that, as far as Americans go, there are people that want to have all of our data from the taxes. And, and that is not cool. That is not cool.
Not cool, but come and get me. You ain't gonna find
But the way to
shit,
protect yourself is simple. I put up a link the other day. Freeze your credit reports. If you freeze your credit reports, nobody can do anything
also,
in your name.
Freeze the title of your house. That's another thing. If you own a house, freeze your title. There's companies now, they're just like anything, and they will go ahead and watch if somebody comes in and somehow fakes out a court reporter and puts a lien on your property, and you don't know it, and then the only way you find out about it is some lender wants to foreclose after somebody took out a huge loan on your property as a second, and you didn't know about it. So
Well,
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about freezing your title. I'd never heard of that before. I know my house is homesteaded, but I don't
No, no,
believe.
no. What it is there's
Yes,
companies
yes,
that
my house is
watch.
homesteaded.
Well, homesteading is a tax thing. What I'm saying
No,
is,
no, no. Homesteading is not a tax thing. Homesteading means that
all right.
nobody could take your house from you.
What I'm saying is that that doesn't stop somebody going to the county clerk and presenting a brilliantly forged document saying that this Jan Landy took out a second mortgage on his property for $250,000 to Billy Bob's finance company, whom I represent, and here you go. And their job is to record it, and that's it. And you won't know about it that's there unless you do a title search or somebody sitting there watching it when your title, somebody says something to your title.
And how do you do that, Greg? How do you put a freeze on
There's
it?
a company, protect my title. Google it. Google is
Yeah, I've heard of what he's talking about, and people have actually lost their homes to the fake people that say they
Right.
have the title, and the paperwork is done so
It
that there's
happened
no
to
way to tell who
Graceland.
owns it.
For God's sake. That's what happened at Graceland.
Really?
Oh, wow.
You know,
Wow.
they said that Priscilla Presley took out a loan with Graceland as the collateral, and she was going to foreclose and auction off. This company was going to foreclose and auction off Graceland, and
Right.
then the person who had the fake notary on this document said, wait a minute, I didn't do that. This is a fake. And they got busted.
Who actually owns Graceland now?
It's still.
I believe it's the family. I think it is a Presley family that still owns it.
Yeah.
Granddaughter owns it.
Granddaughter?
Now, if she would have used the freeze, like you said, use the
They
freeze.
would have been noted. In other words,
Right.
what that does, it's the same thing as somebody looking at your credit report. When somebody does something negative at your credit report, you get a ding, hey,
Okay, so let me ask you this question. You have it frozen, right? You have it frozen,
It's
and
not
you feel
frozen,
secure.
but it's watched.
Let's say it's frozen, because that otherwise my joke will be no good. All right, so it's frozen, right? What happens if I have some Prestone antifreeze? Then I've
you should have
unfrozen.
said Presley
Without the
and
joke.
and you would have tied in both conversations.
That's right, Presley
Uh,
antifreeze. That's it.
Jan, you needed to tie it in with the movie Frozen somehow.
Yeah.
That's it. One of
Work
the
on
most
that.
popular movies of all time.
Yeah.
Let's put up a link for credit title freezing.
Yeah.
It's one of many.
Yeah.
Where are
Well,
you, David?
What's that?
Where are you?
Oh, I'm in a casino called Pachanga. We're performing tomorrow night with Hotel California.
Yeah.
About an hour and 20 minutes from LA.
He's in Temecula,
almost
about
in
11
San
miles
Diego.
from where I grew up.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, almost in San Diego.
there you have it. Now, did you carve your name in a tree that he can go look at it or something like that when you were kids? Maybe still there? No. All right, let's talk about some concerts, Ken. Willie
So is that
Nelson,
your
Bob
gimmick?
Dylan, 10th anniversary Outlaw concert from May to September. Blackbird presents, so it's not even Live Nation. I can't believe it. But what do you know about that concert? Anything?
The tour, but the Outlaw tour,
Yeah.
which not make me very happy because I've done Outlaw tour for about 4 years, and they suddenly decided that with Dylan on it, he had to have an L acoustics rig.
That just doesn't seem right to me, that Dylan would use L acoustic. Just doesn't seem right.
It's all politics and who's in charge and what they think they can get.
Yeah.
I'm sure Dylan himself doesn't have any idea what P8 is.
Yeah,
Nor
probably
does he
not.
care.
Or care.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, probably not. Probably not. But it's a pretty big tour. I mean, to have those acts on the I mean, there's a lot of acts on that.
Doing all shed dates. There's a shed
Yeah.
tour.
Yep.
They're
Anyway,
doing a
and
gorge out here.
Speaking of PAs being chosen, the other thing I saw in that article about the Super Bowl was for the first time ever at the Superdome, the minimum height of an array was 150 feet. So can you imagine trying to front fill all those people, in the expensive seats near the floor when the PA is minimum height 150 feet above you?
They didn't use the golf carts, the ATK golf carts?
I don't know. I got to reread the article again, but
You know about the carts, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
it was an L acoustics rig as well. So
I think they always use the carts around the perimeter. They drive them out.
Yeah, normally they do, but who knows?
There's no reason to change. It's really not much else that will work as
Right.
well. So,
Well, they did it this year. They said they did it this year because of sight lines. So,
well,
why
they
the
have it
Super-
down to a science. They've been doing it for so many years. They have it down to a
yeah, but
science.
150 feet. Have you ever been? I've been to the Superdome. 150 feet is high for anything there.
Right.
It reminds me, of all the fights that you would have going to the Forum. That was horrible for anything flying because of the sight lines, because of the way the Forum is built. You would always have fights.
Did they have the clusters
Yep.
real high and pointing down? More
Reset
almost
now and
flat
set up
down?
on the couch stuff. And then the light will reset after just driving about 15 minutes.
It was a nail?
Yep. Got a nail in it.
Oh, all right.
And then
You got a nail in his tire. Listen to that. Unbelievable.
Oh, thank you.
Unbelievable. The case solved.
Better than a screw.
Yeah, it's better to be nailed than screwed. I agree. Except,
Well, and it was
depending on who
free.
you're talking to.
It was free.
That's a good. Where'd you go? What place? Let's give him a little credit. Where'd you go?
Les Schwab.
What?
What's the name of the tire place you go to?
It's Les Schwab.
Let's
Les
shop.
Shop.
Les Schwab.
Never heard of it.
It's a pretty popular. They do tires, brakes, and batteries stuff. It's been around in the Northwest since the 50s.
Oh, very good. Very good. Very good.
And if they can fix your tire, they will without replacing it or trying to sell you a new one. And if it's just something like what just happened to me, which was a nail, it's free.
That's right. They all do that so that you can get it back when you need to buy tires. It's
Right.
a wonderful service that everybody does. Even here in Thailand, they do the same thing with that.
Did they have a
Doesn't
road
happen
hazard guarantee on it, whatever?
Well, I didn't.
You know what they do
buy
here?
these there, I don't think.
You know what they do here, which is really cool, and I'm surprised they don't do it in America. There's this company I think it's called Be Quick. I think that's what it's called, Be Quick. And they're yellow. And what they do is when they repair your tires, you buy tires, they give you the caps that go cover the valve. They give you free caps in yellow so that it's their advertising symbol. It's free, and everybody puts them on their cars so you could see almost every car on the road has got these little yellow things covering their tire valves. It's a very smart idea. I think it's brilliant, as a matter of fact, and I'm surprised they don't do it in America.
Well, Jan,
Anyway.
I just want to say good luck on your Valentine's Day quest. I hope.
Yes, we can't
well.
talk about it because we can't talk about it until it's over.
Please go ahead and post on over the weekend and just let us know.
By the way, did you guys happen to see the Thai wedding reception?
Yes.
The photos from that? That's pretty impressive, man. Bo
Yeah.
really did a great job on that. An amazing job. 150 people showed up. You know, it was really cool. I
Yep.
loved it. I loved it, you know, and I was dressed like, a Thai millionaire, you know.
Yeah.
Were there any
Very
counts?
cool. There was plenty of counts there, plenty of counts on account too. You know, I mean, it's amazing how people, you know, how many people show up when you give them free food and alcohol. I'll tell you, it is amazing. I mean, even the teachers, all her teachers from public school all the way through high school, where she graduated, every one of them showed up, and they were very nice. They chipped in and bought us a really nice oven, you know, an electric oven, which
Wow.
was very cool. It was mind blowing to see all her friends. And the thing is I wanted to find out what she was like as a kid, because I thought she was pretty much, you know, like the devil as a kid. Turns out she was like the honor student. It turns out that, you know, she was like, you know, a great student. So
And you corrupted her.
not yet. I'm working on it.
Opposite
I'm
the-
working on it. I'm working on it. She's not corrupted yet. You know, she's really a good woman. I'm telling you, I really got extremely lucky in this whole encounter with her. And you know, we're going on 4 years right now, and I just can't imagine being without her. It's for me, and David could validate this for sure, is that in the old days, I was going through women as if they were tissues, you know? It was like on a bad cold season. But, you know, I've been with Bo now the longest, and I'm as happy as the first day that I met her. It's an amazing feeling that I'm going through, and I am really happy to report that.
You know what
that,
you should
you know,
do, Jan? If you have copies of each one of these shows, okay, go back. This is a big project. Go back and dump it into that program that you're talking about and pull out all the sequences of what you've talked, how you've talked to all of us about Bo over the years for all 100, whatever the number.
It would be
shows.
monotonous because I've said the same thing over and over again. You know, it's like,
I think it'd be interesting for you to. That would be an interesting thing.
yeah, if once I'm retired, if that ever happens, you know, by the way, just speaking of retirement and in generations and stuff like that, because a lot of us are retiring right now in our age group. Newsweek has revealed a stark generational gap when it comes to savings. Baby boomers aged 61 to 79 years old are holding nearly twice as much money as the millennials aged from 28 to 43. That just makes common sense. But the survey of 1,000 U.S. adults asked people about their savings that they hold across of all their accounts, and boomers reported they have an average of $216,000 in the bank compared to 110,000 for the millennials, which I don't know how accurate that is, but you know,
Yeah,
it seems like that's a lot of money for a lot of people, and I don't really think people have that kind of money.
What, 200,000 or 100,000?
Either.
I don't.
Because I read about it all the
I don't have
time.
200 in the bank, but
I read about it all the time that most people, if they lose their job, wouldn't have enough, you know, couldn't put together $400. You know,
Yeah, but how much of that is stuck in retirement accounts that they can't touch?
right.
yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Or in property, which
Yeah.
fluctuates all the time.
So anyway, one thing I want to say, and we're getting near the end of the time that we're going to be in, and that is, I just read an article, and it really upsets me. This particular article, and I want to throw it out there to you guys to see how you feel about it, if I'm unique in this field. The group formerly known as the Boy Scouts of America officially changed its name on Saturday to Scouting America.
Yep, they sure did. And it's
What
so
do you guys
weird.
think about that? Why
It's
does
so-
it bother me?
It's so weird that the Boy Scouts have to let the girls in, but Girl Scouting has completely poo-pooed all that stuff. I am glad to see that. Personally, I'm glad to see that the gender whatever changer people are not allowed to be in the women's locker rooms anymore. I'm glad to see that because
Yes.
there was Mike Rowe. I don't know if you watch Mike Rowe on YouTube or not, but he had a swimmer on that talked about being in their championship deal. She'd worked her entire life swimming to go to the Olympics and those stuff, and she had to compete against a guy in her final deal, and they tied down to the thousandth of a second, which is almost an impossible thing to do. They tied swimming this 400-meter race or whatever it was down to a thousandth of a second, and they gave it to him.
Right.
That is not fair.
It's not
I
fair.
have to tell you, it's not fair. It's just that men and women are built differently. No matter how you look at it, a man is built differently than a woman. I mean, not just the fact that they got a penis, I mean, and that's all there is to it. But men's mass is usually greater than the female mass in the body, just the way it's designed, just the way it's built, just the DNA of it all. And it's not fair. I don't think that it's fair that men, even that consider themselves women, or even have gone through the operation and completely converted, they still can't have babies, and they still don't have the inner workings of a woman. And I don't believe that they should be able to compete with one another in the same sport. I mean, if they want to have the access to the Olympics, then there should be a meet where they're all equal. So the transgender event, but not competing against opposite sexes.
That's up to the athletic commissions all around the world. It starts with the Olympic commissions, and then it goes all the way down to the NCAAs, to the local stuff.
Well, if you watch that story, it starts with the NCAA.
Oh, okay, yeah, and that's right. But the NCAA has changed, Fred.
What's telling is the photo of the two swimmers, and the guy is the male is about 6'1".
Yeah.
And so just in the reach alone, he's got the advantage. So that's
the other and that's unfair. I agree totally. It's unfair, but again, it's not up to France, the United States, Japan, Australia, Russia, China. It's not up to all that. It's up to those sports federations to go ahead and deal with it.
Yeah, there should be a third category.
Right.
Should be men's, women's, and transgenders. They shouldn't be mixing them.
Yeah.
Wasn't there an executive order that changed that in the U.S.? And there's now questions whether, because they were saying there's like 1,800 medals that were lost by women to men's stuff there. There's the whole thing coming to straighten stuff out.
Yeah.
It might be something that's happening right now, but I don't know.
All right. Well, listen, let's do this. Let's keep this conversation going, but I want to say goodbye to everybody who's watching us on streaming. And I want to thank you all for watching us. Thank you for watching us. Remember to click the like button. I think I have a button here that says that. Click the like button. There you go. Thanks for watching. And remember, click the like button.
In the chat yard is the link to that. I think to Vince's memorial. Everybody,
very good. That's really, really cool. That's really, really cool.
And all the other surrounding articles, read them. Just read them.
There you go. So let me say goodbye once again to everybody. I'm going to mute everybody for right now. Okay. So remember, thank you for watching. You make it happen. Make it happen by clicking the like button and watching us on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you get your podcasts, we're there. And again, thank you for watching. You make it happen. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we will see you again next week on Wednesday at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock on West Coast time, 8 o'clock on East Coast time, or wherever you are. And until then, You make it happen. Stay safe and stay healthy. And if anybody wants to say anything now, now's your time to say whatever it is you want to say.
I've been thoroughly enjoying the Australian Idol show that's just started for 2025. Great stuff.
Well, got to tell you, man, I never watched
Brandon.
American Idol. I never watched America's Got Talent or Britain's Got Talent or any of that stuff, but I can't stop watching it now. It's just really, really good stuff. I mean, really. I'd like to see some of the guys that got buzzed off really quickly, but I haven't seen any of those videos. I just see the winners, and some of them are really impressive. Yep. All right.
Like
We're saying
Adele.
goodbye. Goodbye.
Oh,
Keep
wait.
talking.